Hey, welcome to Canberra Metalheads. This is episode 79, one of the first episodes for the year with all the lack of bands and content. We're finally getting out and doing some gigs. So you got Marky Malpas, Jada K, and we're joined here, special guest from Black Jesus. We've got
Adrian.
I just like to I like to get people. It's a good way to start it by getting people to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Because I have this thing where I'll just talk for the entire episode and be like, "Well, that was me telling a band member about something." But you're saying you've done radio before.
Yeah. So in the '90s and early 2000s, me and a couple of friends, we started off doing a community radio show, playing mostly punk rock and hardcore, and then from there we were picked up by a Melbourne independent radio station, Triple R.
Yep.
And I think we were there all up, probably about 8 or 9 years.
Yep.
And did our show there. So yeah, it was a lot of really good fun. We finished up, I think, probably 2003 or 4 something. And one of the host really, he went on to do Short Fast Loud on Triple J. So
cool.
Yeah. So it was cool way to kind of round out being part of I guess a kind of broader music community, so playing in bands, but then also got to promote other bands, on the radio show. So it was a cool way to kind of give back a little bit.
Good. No, it all comes down to social media these days and promotion, and like it's crazy how much. Like, you can see talented bands that have kind of dropped off because they don't have the, ability to push sales or get things going. It can be sad sometimes to see them drop off, but it's also good to see a lot of bands that we wouldn't have normally caught if it wasn't for social media that have made it. Actually, you mentioned Triple R. That's really cool that came up. So, Respect the Rock with Nicole Tadpole is probably the reason that I first kicked off Canberra Metalheads in 2017 was listening to that show. And then when I went down to Melbourne a few years ago, I actually did a station tour with one of the station managers there. I forgot his name. Is this cat that just looked like he was from a country western movie. He was just wearing the cowboy shirt and the Cuban heel boots and stuff. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, he showed me right through the stage and everything in there. So that was cool. That's cool that you worked there, man.
Yeah. So at a different time, I mean, there was when we were doing the show, there was no social media. There was none of that. Most of the stuff we played was on records. CDs were advanced. We were it's a totally different thing now. I did a radio interview a couple of weeks ago at another community station at PBS, and it's now just on playlists, and it's a different game. So getting music out and about. But I think you said social media. It does have it's got a real advantage. You can find out about bands a lot quicker than you used to be able to without it. I guess the kind of difference is that you might spend a bit more time trying to find these bands, and you spend a bit more time trying to get to know them and enjoy them. Whereas I feel like now it's a lot of kind of swipe. You like a track, swipe. It's a little bit more like that, So.
Yeah, it's very. There's a lot more content out there, but there is definitely some gems and it's also cool to be able to, contact bands from all around the world now and just have chats. But there's probably been some interesting moments with Zoom and that sort of stuff. I know that in the early stages of lockdown, when we started to do a couple of Zoom interviews, it would be half an hour set up for a 15-minute interview. Have you had any funny situations with the old Zoom calls before?
Well, I thought I was telling you off air the incident that I had for a friend of mine for his as a birthday present. We got him a Scotch tasting thing with an actual Scottish distillery We got all the scotches sent to our houses, zoomed in at the particular time. It was late at night for us, so it was like kind of relatively early in the morning there. But the head distiller was he was already drunk, by the time we got there. He's getting his assistant to go get him bacon and egg sandwiches, and he's smashing them on the camera, like, not turning it off, just giving us the full experience, and it was it was great. I've never vicariously enjoyed a sandwich more. It was great. It was excellent.
If there's anything to come out of Zoom calls, it's like being able to enjoy a Scottish bacon and egg roll from across the other side of the world.
Yeah. It must have been great. Yeah, that's all I can say, because he was really into it. Like, it was. Yeah. I like that. Like, he's showing a bit of passion. It's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. So we do have a couple of questions to get through. One of them that I've wanted to know since I first started seeing Black Jesus pop up, because I've worked at the basement for a bit. This is my 10th year, so I've sort of seen gigs here and there. I've always wondered why the name Black Jesus.
When we first, the first incarnation of the band, we got around probably for a year without even a name. We just couldn't think. We couldn't really think of one. We didn't want anything that was. We didn't want anything kind of too serious, but then something at the same time that was going to be, a bit eye catching. You know what I mean? So it was, So I can't even remember the other ones that we had. They were all ridiculous. Like, they were all.
Did you have any you remember, like the early names?
Oh, okay. So there was one actually, and this is how it kind of came to Black Jesus. So we I'd gone to. I go back to Japan each year, and whilst I was over there, there'd been a brand of canned coffee. So in Japan, I don't know if you guys have been or if you've heard, but you can buy coffee in a can from vending machines, and it's a big thing over there.
Yep.
And anyway, and so there was this brand that had come out called Black Impact, and I thought, fuck, Black Impact, that's just great. Like, I get that. I think that would be cool. Like, we could try that. And then we threw that around the three of us at the time. And I think it was the drummer, Reese, who was in the band then. He came back and said, well, what about Black Jesus? I thought, yeah, that's it. And it stuck. And that was it.
Yeah. Nice. That's actually, like, there's a Canberra, I don't know if they're Canberra based. They've played Canberra a few times. Teen Jesus and the Gene Teasers.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like I love the name. Just when you see it written, you're like, oh, I don't know how that'll sound. But then you say it and you're like, man, that's got a ring to it.
Yeah, that's right.
I think one of the biggest. Sorry, I was one of the biggest pushes for the band was probably the merch, man. Like, one of the things I've noticed is from the times you guys have played, I often see Black Jesus merch just when I'm out and about. So it's always a good sign when you see people repping merch, because it means that you obviously set an impression.
Yeah. And we try, like, we really do make an effort with the designs that we do. Like, we. If we take the time to create a couple of good ones, and we'll print them out a few times, give people a chance to, to look at them. Maybe they don't buy it the first time, but maybe they come back to another show and they see it there, then they'll grab it then. So, I guess it's kind of, in a way, it's an extension of our music. Like we don't take ourselves too seriously. The music that we play, when we get up on stage and play, we give it everything. There's no gas in the tank left after one of our shows, so I kind of feel like our merch needs to be on that kind of same level as well.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, man. I always get the merch regret, like when you're tossing up between two designs and then you just wish you got both.
Yeah.
You're like walking away, or like you see someone else wearing the one you didn't get and you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about my brother Lukey and I. It's like similar sizes, so he'll get one and I'll get the other, and at least we know it's in the family.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, merch envy is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I guess we do second question. Kind of more around how did COVID affect you guys?
Yeah, how did it affect us? So, I think I can't say it affected us positively. I think that for us, it really killed momentum. like in the lead up 2018, 2019, you know, we've written the songs for another album. We were just getting in the swing of you know, building up that regular rehearsal momentum to get really tight, to get the songs really tight. Like how we approach recording is, you know, we'll write the songs, we'll let them kind of breathe, and, you know, we'll make all the kind of necessary adjustments to turn them from a good song into what we think is a great song, and then, you know, go into record. But that process takes time, you know, and some groups of songs come together really quickly, and, you know, that process might be, you know, say 3 to 6 months, and others can take a bit longer. And this one was taking a bit longer, just because I think the quality of the songs we were really happy with them, but definitely they're a step up from some of the previous stuff that, you know, that we've done. Just more abrasive and more caustic. You know, we've really tried to kind of tap into that kind of old school death metal, old school hardcore kind of vibe, and really just bring the elements that really kind of resonate with us and bring them together. Anyway, so we just, we first lockdown happened, and then from there, just getting momentum started to be really tricky. At that point, then the bass player moved to Mount Gambier. Not long after that, the drummer moved to Warrnambool. So, you know, really, you know, there's, you know, 4 hours distance between us. So now, kind of getting a chance to rehearse now is, well, it can't happen every week. You know, it's got to happen every month. And, you know, if we're lucky, we might get 2 sessions in, but more often than not, it's just the one. And so momentum hit us that way. And I at the moment, really kind of trying to figure out what that means for us, you know, moving forward, because it's going to, I guess, you know, for playing, it's not so much an issue because the songs are in muscle memory. You know, it's more about you get on stage and you shake off any nerves that you've got and you have a great time. But whereas recording, you know, or getting ready for recording, it's about getting the songs right. You know, you don't want to record something, listen to it later, and feel it's kind of half done. I'd hate it, right? And primarily, like, you know, I mean, we play for the fun of it. You know, we play because it's fun for us to do. I mean, I've been playing in bands for, you know, over 30 years now, and like it's, if it just has to be fun. That's the only. But that seems like a fairly low bar, but it's actually quite a high one when you think about it, because as you kind of go along, like, it's like, well, I'm only going to release stuff, and I only want to put stuff out for people to buy if I know that it's something I would buy and something I'd listen to. So, so just how we now find that new balance for us. I think that's going to be one of our challenges, maybe over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's good insight on both sides. Like, you being one of the original members of Black Jesus.
The only one now. Yeah, the
other ones were like later.
So the band's been through, you know, by my count, I think, well, 3. There's definitely 3 iterations, you know, of the band, and you know, where with this latest iteration, like, I feel that, you know, Ivan, who we've got drumming for us at the moment, probably one of the best drummers I've ever played with, period. Yep. Like, this guy just, you know, he attacks his drum kit. Like, it's nice. I feel sorry for it. You know, it should be pressing charges after each show, because it's you know, he's a monster, and that's the engine of the band. You know, so to have that, you know, Ben, a bass player, I've played in bands with Ben pretty much for the entire journey that I've been in music, and Ben's a great bass player. So it's a really good. We're operating as a 3-piece at the moment, but we are looking for another lead guitarist.
Yep.
I just think as a 4-piece, the band is just louder.
Yeah.
The band is just more intense. You know, yep. As a 3-piece, I think we function okay, and I've set up my rig, you know, accordingly, so that if we do play as a 3-piece, I try to run an ABY pedal, so I run through 2 amps. So I've got the kind of, and the sound that I'm able to get through both my amps, I'm really happy with, but I'm only accounting for volume at that point. I'm not accounting for energy. And when you've got 4 people on stage and you've got someone who fucking blazes solos, you know, like that's that's the icing, on the cake. And so Tim, we had playing the band for the last few years, but he had to step away just with other commitments and stuff. So which is cool for him. We're real happy for him, but it's left a bit of a gap for us. So we just have to So going to the previous question you're talking about, kind of, and I was mentioning momentum. That's another thing too. But maybe silver lining. Getting, hopefully we find a good, we find a good replacement, and that might be that level of objectivity we need to really produce these songs, So, trying to look at it as an opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, that leads to the final question, and it also gets us into plugs. But the last one is you mentioned that you sort of that you current drummer is one of the hardest drummers you've played with. What's some of the this is like, I guess it's considered a festival show, being 10 bands, 2 stages. What's the biggest lineup you've ever played on before?
Biggest line? Oh well, okay, so probably more. Well, okay, so there's one I played in with. So I played in a band in the '90s called Fallout.
Okay.
And we played. We were the main support act for the Misfits when they came to Australia. So that was a lot of fun. Not what I expected. Like I think like doing podcasts or doing radio, you'll probably get to meet your heroes. Yeah. And they can be either really amazing experiences or they can be really shitty experiences, kind of at the point where you wish it never really happened. Yeah. Like you wish you could kind of, I wish I never met that guy, because in my imagination, he was a lot cooler than when I met him in real life. I'm sure some people say that about me too, so it's all good. So we, so the Misfits, great to see them live, but didn't really click with them. However, we did get to play, with Black Jesus more recently. We played with Venom and support, and we were able to support Entombed. Yeah, and we met all those guys, and they were super supportive. Like really, like they were there. They watched us play, which I thought was like Yeah. I mean, especially Entombed. Like Entombed are a massive influence on my guitaring and my kind of approach to, to writing, and to have those guys. And I know that, that they're not the guys that played on Left Hand Path and Clandestine and that, but that doesn't matter. Like, for me, Petrov's there, fucking, like, anyway, it was just a really cool experience. And
yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah, so play that was great. So they're probably the two.
Yep.
They're probably the two biggest ones. But there's loads of other shows that where we didn't play in front of as many people, but the energy was just ripping. I actually, the one when I think of those shows, the last time that Black Jesus came to Canberra, we played a festival at the base. I was at the basement of the Unibar.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been the Unibar, and we played on the smaller stage. And actually, because as it worked out, we'd the show that we had in Canberra, there were kind of some issues, but that night King were playing, and a couple of other bands anyway. And so we know the dudes from King, and we just said, hey, listen, we're going to be in town, we're going to be playing this show, but it looks like there might be a couple of issues. What do you reckon about turning your show into a bit of a mini festival? And they were fucking right on about that.
Yeah, nice.
And so we just basically shared between stages 1 and 2, and we played the smaller stage, and it was great. Like, there was real energy that night. Dudes getting into it, and that's cool too. Like, we don't play Canberra that often, and but to get out there and play, and people appreciate what you do, and then come up afterwards and tell you, that was that fucking kicked my ass. I fucking love that. Thank you very much. That's connection, and that's it. They're having fun, I'm having fun. That's how we connect. That's all that matters, So yeah, so I'm looking forward to coming down. We're playing Sydney the night before.
Yep.
Playing at the Highway, the Highway bar there with the Plague, and with Dark Horse.
Yep.
And then we'll come down to Canberra the next day and do our best.
Yeah, nice. Oh well, that's a good plug for both. This episode will come out closer to the event, and so you got a plug there for the second in Sydney. If any Sydney folks can't make it to Canberra for Heathen Fest, you can catch Black Jesus in Sydney, and then you can obviously coming up.
It's not that far down the road from Sydney to Canberra. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to catch a bunch of bands that aren't playing Sydney as well, then Heathen Fest on the 3rd of September, you'll be able to see awesome lineup. And catch these guys live, man. Thanks heaps for doing the show. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you.
It's really good to have a chat and get some banter in there.
Excellent.
It's good to get off topic every now and again. So,
mate, enjoyed it. Happy to be back.
Cheers. Yeah. Well, looking forward to catching you on the night.